Welcome to Around the Valley. I'm Lance Minetti, and today we're in Lindsay, California at Central Valley Rescue Railroad, and I am sitting here with BJ. BJ is the founder of the rescue here in Lindsay, serving the area. And BJ, tell us how you started. I know that you started out for your retirement, but your retirement turned into something completely unplanned.
Well, absolutely. I don't think anyone would set this as a goal for their retirement profile, believe me. So I actually started volunteering in all the different shelters over the last 15 years. That was my introduction to rescue. Didn't even know rescue existed until about 15 years ago. And our goal as shelter volunteers at the time was to move dogs out of this very crowded area, out of the high kill shelters, to areas that needed dogs. So we started volunteer groups, basically of just transporting dogs to other areas, and built a huge network, and did that for a number of years. And eventually the need was so great locally that it just sort of evolved. I found property in the country. It made more sense. I started fostering a dog or two. Well, that's kind of like potato chips. It just sort of grows.
Right, I know how that works. And so you didn't set out to do this, but this was something that came out of necessity, out of need, because you saw so many animals actually roaming the roadways and getting injured too. From what I understand, that was one of the motivations behind you putting together the rescue.
Well, it was. I mean, animals come from so many different sources. Obviously, the shelters are always at capacity, and so people don't necessarily know where their shelters are or what to do.
So, BJ, tell me, how do you acquire your dogs?
Well, we actually get them from a variety of sources. Whenever possible, we try to help the local shelters to ease the overcrowding. That's obviously the number one choice. But there are a number of families in the valley that have a need to surrender a dog for a variety of reasons. And if they don't surrender to an agency such as ours, they will end up in the shelter. So it's a twofold effort. We keep them out of the shelter. We get them here where they don't have to be in that sort of shelter environment and can transition a little more easily. We have requests all the time from people that have just found a dog or sighted a dog that's out in the community. That is not our purview. We don't really have the legal authority to go out and pick up stray dogs. It's not in the dog's best interest. People aren't going to come and look at my rescue for their lost dog. So what we try to do is educate people as to what agency services their area, what's the best way to get them noticed, how to get social media involved to get these dogs exposure, to get them back in their homes. Because the best result is to return a dog to its rightful owner, not to take it and take care of it and find a new owner. In most cases, they're dogs that are just lost. They're not necessarily abandoned. Sometimes they're just lost.
So on this acre facility, you have fantastic kennels. We took a tour earlier, and typically from what you were saying, you have anywhere from 35 to 45 dogs adopted, or adoptable dogs that are ready for their forever homes right here on site. And it really depends on the influx and circumstances that are impacting the local area, such as puppies coming into play, and sometimes those numbers shoot up. And from what I understand, you have a network partner that you do export some of the animals to another area that is not so overpopulated, and they're easier to adopt out.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, when we were still back working with the shelters, one of the major partners we set up was from the San Diego County area. And we were able to maintain that relationship even after becoming a private nonprofit. In fact, we were their only non-shelter partner for a number of years. We actually transport now every 3 weeks. We had a record month in the month of August. We transported 87 dogs in 21 days. And adopted out additional numbers of dogs. So we had 111 dogs found homes from this facility in 30 days.
So local dogs here in the Lindsay Exeter area are now adopted and living in San Diego County.
Yeah, it's a Hollywood story. Local dog makes big.
Love that. So you do a really great job out here, and I know that you have a group of dedicated volunteers. We got to meet quite a few of them, 5 or 6 volunteers just on site today that are doing dog tests to make sure that the dogs have the proper temperament to be adopted, and if there are any issues that they need to work with, be aware of, and then train out. I know that they do a lot of assessing to make sure that the perfect dog leaves Central Valley Rescue Railroad for their forever home. And you have this group of volunteers right there that we're going to be talking with shortly. What else do you have on store for today?
Well, for today, it's a typical volunteer day. We sometimes bathe dogs. We take them for walks. We socialize them. Obviously, we do temperament testing. That's important. And then there's all the mechanics of things. There's laundry. There's vans to clean and crates to clean and all those kinds of things. Volunteering is absolutely a work of the heart because it's not easy. It's not glamorous. It's not something that you would choose to do forever. You have to be really willing, because I'm sure my volunteers they'd like to be at the beach too.
And you would like to be retired.
Well, that was a goal at one time. It's getting further and further away as we speak, but yes, right. Absolutely.
Right. Well, I know that we have a few things to talk about in the next segment that here locally that is more of a challenge for you and that you have to work with. And once again, you're donor supported. So all donations go to help rescue, rehabilitate, shelter, protect, and then finally adopt out these really wonderful dogs that are actually found here, sometimes in pretty stressful situations. Stay tuned for the next segment when we will be talking with BJ and her team of volunteers on some of the challenges and some of the outcomes. I'm Lance Minetti. This is Around the Valley.